Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Spiritually Speaking. The lady I have with me as my guest today is someone I've interviewed before, so I'm very excited to have her back. This is Lalitha Donatella Ryback, and she is the author of the book Golden Age Goddesses, a number one bestseller, which she is going to be speaking with us about today, as well as many other things. So, Donatella, I'm so happy to have you back as my guest today. Thank you.
Hi Dee, it's so good to see you again. And so I'm so happy to be back also on your special podcast. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And we were having quite the little chat about some Mercury retrograde and new moon activities, throwing
Oh
some
my
kinks in the
goodness,
mix.
it's been really, really special. Yeah. It's been very strange actually, but anyway, maybe a few words we can say and maybe what to do. Yeah, I'm very happy. I'm a Vedic art and science expert. I have a BA in that, and so I love all the Vedic arts, Ayurveda, Vedic astrology. Actually, I practice it too. So yeah, definitely I can talk about that. And in my coaching, I always use these tools because they are timeless, they are universal, they help at any time for various situations.
Yes, it's so good. And you are also a transformational mindset coach as well as
Yes.
the other things you do. So I'm very excited for you to tell us all about that. I do kind of an organic podcast, as you know it from before. So whatever you feel on your heart to share with us today about what you do or what you feel we need to know right now on this time on our planet, I would love for you to share.
Yes, yes, absolutely. First of all, I'm honored I get to talk about my favorite things with a special person like you. I'm always inspired by your podcast and your topics. So today I would like to tell you about, first of all, about my favorite book right now. I'm sorry, I'm biased, but it's a really important book for me. And also, I believe for the world, for who is interested in these topics. So we have entered the so-called golden age. We have talked about it. We've been skeptical. Many masters had announced it, but looking around, it sure doesn't look golden. What does
Mm,
it look like? Chaotic, strange, new, different. So, and that's expected. So during the transition, there's chaos, there is confusion. We let go of things that don't serve us anymore. Lots of changes on the planet, in ourselves, in the consciousness. So people moving from place to place, like that's all expected. So don't panic. This is normal. So the goddess is the golden age goddesses. Why did I call it that? Also, there's a subhead title called Love, Abundance, and Truth Have Returned. So I believe this is very good news for all of us, especially spiritual people who have been thrown off by so many things, because we feel it more in our hearts.
mm.
And we were born with an intuitive knowledge, or we have acquired it in a wise way somehow. No, things are not supposed to be this way. This way is wrong. I know it should be differently. And maybe people remember it from past lives. So that's huge because, yes, this book is also about that. Many people are remembering their past lives because of this golden age, which means really higher frequencies, more light on our planet. That's why we're discovering so many new things about past civilizations. And I'm sure your audience is interested
Yes,
in
absolutely.
such things and amazing technologies that are spiritual in nature, like sound waves. Sound waves are sacred sounds, like the mantras. So we vibrate at a certain frequency. It's not woo-woo anymore to talk about this. It's literally true. Everything has a vibration, numbers, places, humans, people, every beings, higher beings also have frequencies. So as our vibrations rise, we're also understanding more, we become more intelligent, and higher beings now are comfortable or they're allowed, but by source to return. So when these beings return, now we have help. We have more help than ever. Yes, miracles they always existed, but now it's the time when people actually ask for them or they expect them. So if you expect them, you know what happens, right? If you expect something bad, typically, it's very possible that one can manifest it. But if you expect miracles, then that too happens. And you don't even have to work so hard. Now everything is very, very fast. And you can see that in science, like people are discovering these tiny, tiny units of time that we cannot even conceive. So I talk about longer about this in the other book, like Think and Receive Miracles. And that also was #1 bestseller in the US last year, in
Amazing.
2024. That was February, I think. And then in May, this came out. I was called to do it. The goddess, I had dreams, things happened. And so you'll find it in the book. And you can find it on Amazon, also a #1 bestseller in the US, Australia, and other countries. So both of these books are really, I I was completely lost in my writing. I didn't do anything else. I did gain a little weight because I had stopped exercise, totally focused on something. And it just came so easily. I don't know how to describe. I've never written a book so fast, but I never stopped. About 10 hours a day, but I wasn't tired. I was inspired. So I believe the goddesses were actually pushing me to do this because the first thing I said that when last year my book was published, I don't want to write another book and I want to rest. I want to go on vacation. Sure enough, less than a few days later, I was already writing this. They would not leave me. The goddesses were always there, either with reminders, music that started playing on itself, by itself on my computer without touching, without even knowing that mantra was there. It was old, maybe like 10 years old, and I had totally forgotten about it. And suddenly this goddess mantra came like crazy things constantly. And you read it. It's really staggering sometimes if I think back. So the message is what? All these higher beings who are feminine in nature, so the divine feminine, have returned to help us. What is the goddess? The highest compassion.
Mm.
Lots and lots of love. And you don't have to do anything to deserve that love. You already have it in you. It's being activated. You are activating it thanks to these frequencies. And just you'll have reminders. You may see higher beings now. Everything is possible. So it's working on our subtle energy, but also in our intuitive centers, parts of the brain that start to become more used, active, like the third eye, the pineal gland, the pituitary gland together, and also the back of the brain that the yogis associate with intuitive and miraculous powers. So all this is starting to bring fruition, like to come to fruition. So I'm very excited to say, yes, the goddesses are here and they will not be quiet. So where there's been wrong done to women, they will rectify that. I know that by the yogic tradition, I know how the Shakti works. That's the highest power
Mhm.
in the Vedic tradition, which is very, very ancient, perhaps the most ancient that we have now on the planet. There were more ancient civilizations, right? And they were lost. But the Vedic one has been active, undiluted. So especially the yogis of Tamil Nadu, their lineage is 50,000 years old. We cannot even conceive that time, but it's real. So they've been active only privately and they're very secluded. They don't want to deal with the mainstream world. They don't want fame. They don't want money. So they're very, very pure, but they're very, very psychic. So they've described these higher beings, female beings, as the mother goddess, with lots of names and faces, etc. And I've had visions during deep meditations in India, in these great places, temples, etc., where you go. What's exciting about those temples that I find incredible is that they were built, then they were destroyed. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of years. So different civilizations, etc. Perhaps Lemuria, which was connected also with South India, and a place called Kumarikandam that existed every Kumarikandam. That was it was in every scripture, in every local tradition. It was so people know about this land, and it was submerged. I believe, the event the whole planet witnessed, which was the Great Deluge. Well, scientists cannot deny it anymore too much. Some are still skeptical. It's their path. That's okay. But we have so much, right, that proves that. Okay, so these goddesses are back, and what are they telling us? You're already the goddess. Even if you're a man, you have a goddess within. So you have what? The love, the compassion, the the power to protect the entire planet, the entire creation, even. So we're very, very powerful, like the goddess. We're not separate at all. So that was my message primarily. But there are so many stories, visions, messages for humanity. So I find it very special in my heart. I feel that can help a lot of people, especially women, because the goddess, you want to be beautiful, you want to be loved, you want to be appreciated, you want to be radiant and healthy. Yes, everybody to a certain extent wants the same things. But women more because we are into beauty, art, and gorgeous things. Yeah, so there are male artists, but also they are channeling the Shakti. So the Shakti is very, very wise and is connected with all beauty and all creation. So that's why it's so exciting because now I have confirmation. As yes, the masters have said we have started the Satya Yuga. It will be chaotic, but it will also be very, very lucky for us to be here this time. So it's not random, guys. You're not suffering necessarily. You're here because you plan to be here, and you're very lucky to be here, all of us. So I have goosebumps as I say that. It's confirmed. I also use my body to understand what's going on. And so not only is this a very important time for our soul evolution, but also we will start, finding out, oh, wow, I can literally ascend, like you don't rise with your body. It's all, I guess, in consciousness. But the yogis of South India talk about the light body and that our flesh will turn into light, just as Jesus said, as other masters have said. The Tibetan monks also do that. And lots of yogis in India, they've turned into light. I believe that's spontaneous, as the frequencies and the light keep growing.
Mhm.
Those who remain, they will have supernormal powers and higher consciousness. So that's needless to say. The evil keeps going down as, there's usually a balance in better time periods, in better cycles. So time is cycle on the earth plane, and I believe all over the universe or multiverse, but also it doesn't exist. So
Right.
as we grow, it's a paradox, but as we grow, the evil doesn't have power over us. So slowly, slowly leaves. But I love the Vedic tradition because of it explains these cycles very easily. So I believe that's for everybody to understand. But it's literally true. So there are times of darkness called Kali Yuga. We just finished that. It was the most atrocious time for everyone. Most people are broken for the injustices. Most people unfortunate, lots of poverty, lots of wars, etc. That time is over. Okay, so we can at least sigh. That was the most horrific period. I don't know if it's 5,000 years, 6,000 or 20,000. I'm not sure. The other cycles are all better than that. So the best is called Satya Yuga. Satya means truth, literally, but also a time of enlightenment where everybody's good.
Mm.
That's very uh, that's to me that's fantastic because since I was a child I was like, why is this like this, why is that person doing that, why are we living like this, why are people, it's not that I lived in poverty. In fact, I had a nice lifestyle in Italy. Italy was a rich country at that time, in the 80s. Like, so I moved because I married my husband, but I could see the difference. There was so much stark difference. There was more segregation here, etc. And a fantastic country for many reasons. But I was looking around. I really wanted to understand. And I was always upset how things, were bad. And
Mhm.
I'm sure I was not alone. Everybody was at some point must have said, why there's so much corruption? Why are some countries rich and others are poor? Why can't we fix this or that? So that's not for us. It was meant to be that way for us to learn. Very tragic, but very real lesson. Yes. So now we can start repairing and understanding who we are because we're really light. We're just imagining this body. We're
And
light.
that is such a difficult concept for so many people to understand. I was having this conversation today with a friend of mine actually about the light bodies and the different dimensions and things like that. It's very deep and also very beautiful. I love this conversation when it goes in this direction because to me it's what we are. It's who we are at the core of our being.
We're not flesh and blood at all. No.
Right.
Unfortunately, we wake up with the body, believe we are the body. We say I am for everything. I am rich, I am poor, I am this person, I am the person's wife, the person's brother. I don't know, just we're stuck with this false I am. We're really God. If we said all day, I am God, I'm God, I'm God, things would improve in our brain. And then finally, our consciousness, uh, first the consciousness will rise. And then there'll be a shift. And also the brain will receive a lot of good thoughts,
Mhm.
like from the environment, from ourselves, from the real self, which is identical to God.
Yeah. Well, because like you said,
Of
it's all the same thing, really. I mean, we're all one. And I
Mhm.
love the subtitle of your book as well, because one of the things, the first word you have in your subtitle, love,
Mhm.
is something that I have been so impactfully shown recently the power of.
Mhm.
Just
Power.
it is so powerful. And I keep getting affirmation after affirmation about it.
Yes.
And it's so incredible. And it sounds so Pollyanna, so whimsical to most people. Like I don't think we understand the depth of the meaning of the word, but it's been shown to me so deeply lately. So I would love it if you would delve into that and talk about that some.
Absolutely. Yes. So, first of all, we've been duped. We've been lied to. Pollyanna is not a bad thing. In fact, if you go and read the story, I was curious, what is this Pollyanna? And because I'm quite idealistic, it was bothering me, that when something bothers me, I go and look deeper. So I realized it was a great story of a girl who never gave up, little girl who was so positive, and the people around her were very negative. And actually, they tried to drag her down with her negativity, not intentionally most of the time, but they tried and they didn't win. And she won, and she was paralyzed or something like that. And actually, with her own positivity, was able to walk again. So what is bad about that?
Right.
What is the negative connotation? Oh, you should be negative. You're a fool. You believe in miracles, or you believe you can heal. But there are so many businesses profiting from making us believe that everything is impossible when actually we can do anything. Heal others. I mean, you don't have to be Jesus Christ, like he was the master, full of love, unconditional love, and also miracle maker. He told us we have supposed to do the same. So if we're not doing it, it's our fault. And maybe we want to, copy Pollyanna. In another book, I talked a lot about Pollyanna because it's a false narrative. And why are we perpetuating it? And has anyone read the story? Right? So let's just start to remove these negative archetypes that have been controlling us.
Right.
Uh, we have chosen it. I mean, we're fully sovereign always, but we're being misled either intentionally, but I want to believe it was accidentally because Some people really don't know. They're just continuing to teach the same things over and over. And
Mhm.
especially during the dark times called Kali Yuga, so the time of betrayal, suffering, etc., and disease and death. So during those times, we ourselves forget the higher truths,
Mhm.
right? So all this is coming back super fast. We can barely process it. And we don't have to worry too much. In fact, the more we worry, the more we block these
Yeah.
truths coming to us and all this love. So yes, love is the word has been misused. We always associated it only to, romance, maybe sexual pleasures, which are all fine. They're part of the creation. The goddesses teach that. In fact, there's nothing wrong with it. But there's so much more love.
Mm.
And even that, just because we have stopped ourselves from giving love because of fear,
Mhm.
multiple heartbreaks. That's also part of the dark time when everybody, kind of betrays the other. I don't mean everybody. Some people still have fantastic relationships, but the great majority of people have been hurt. They've been careful. They don't hesitate to go out on a date and everything happens, but then they don't want to say, I love you. You see it in the movies, you see it in the mainstream media, right? Be very careful how you say I love you. But everything else, no problem. But
Right.
it's ridiculous. It should be the other way around. So the
Yeah.
truth is reversed, the truth is, the more you give love, the more you're loving and the more you're attractive. You literally attract a lot more love when you're in love. And it's happened to you, right? You were in love and now everybody wants to be with you. They want to call you to invite you to to their party, or they want to date you, or I don't know, depends on the situation. But definitely we're more magnetic, more creative when we're in love. And that's just one aspect of it. It's just a man and woman, or man and man, woman and woman, all kinds of humans attracting each other. But it's in reality should be for everyone.
Right.
Like that's how it's going to be. That pure love. We were
Yeah.
born with it and we have suppressed it, right?
Yeah,
They,
and I
that,
agree with you so much. One of my favorite quotes that I've heard, and I don't know where it came from, but it says, "If you can hate for no reason, I can love for no reason." You know,
uh,
like because people don't even think twice about being hateful or, nasty. Some people, a lot of people, but
not everybody. Yes,
it
absolutely.
when somebody says they love us, we want to question it. You know what I mean? Like, what are you up to? Like, there's some kind of ulterior
We're
motive to being
suspicious.
loved?
We become suspicious. Really, you want to love me? So see, that's why also self-love. When you remember you're the goddess and she's in you and you're her and she tells you. So it's so much easier to love yourself because then you don't worry about your physical aspect, the, about the people who have betrayed you, all the things that went wrong. You don't say, I am my bank account. I am good enough even though my bank account is not good, or I'm rich, but I'm not that. So that's why all these ancient truths are coming back. And nobody talks, you don't go to a birthday party or dinner party and people tell you, I am that I am. Who are you?
Right.
I am that. What are you? That, the divine, everything, all of the creation. Eye Asher Eye, I have all these beautiful teachings from my spiritual teacher. Eye Asher Eye is Hebrew for I am that I am, right? What do they say? I am a professor, I'm a lawyer, I am a mindset coach, I am a ballerina, I don't know, all kinds of things. So in one of my books, I wrote this paradox. I said, can you imagine somebody goes to a dinner party and he's a yogi and he lives in the forest, right? And so I said, they're all exchanging credentials, and I do this and I do that. I've done this, I've done that. He says, I I live in a cave, and for 12 hours a day, I try to realize that I am God. That's what I do, but actually I am God. Everybody would be shocked, right?
It
Everybody
would
would
be
be shocked. There would be silence. Oh, that's very bad. That guy's strange. Be careful. I
because it's
remember.
considered blasphemy. I mean, when I was raised Pentecostal, it was considered blasphemy to say something like that,
Oh, really? Oh,
Oh yeah, that was bad news.
oh my God. My goodness. Yeah. I say God. We've been told, oh, you cannot say the word. The word is very powerful, and words are what? Creation. They are
Yes,
the building blocks of the universe. So every sound especially speech, because it's declared, and it causes ripples, these strings. So whatever you say, I always told my children when they were little, I learned it when I was younger. And I told them, be very careful about your speech. Every word counts. And maybe
Mhm.
I learned it from another teacher. Like I remember in the 90s, I had yogi studies since 1993. So I learned it from, like the yogi culture. But also Louise Hay was my favorite, very loving Louise Hay. And her
I love
affirmations
that.
were very empowering. And she always said, watch your language has to create what you want. And the
Yes,
more I go into it, the more there is to learn. So we can talk until tomorrow, but just remembering that you can speak what you want with full faith, which is just positivity. So Pollyanna, be a Pollyanna. I think it's a remedy for all the
yes,
for all the bad things we tell about ourselves, or the size of my jeans and the hair. Today I have a bad hair day, and or I need to change lipstick. No, you're God. You're the goddess, and
right.
she's beautiful. You embody that beauty, that wisdom, that love. And all you have to do is believe it and do it and practice it. Live it.
Yeah.
Even if you
It's
don't
so
turn it.
amazing that you brought up words because when I was talking to my friend today and he goes, what? Because I have a huge dream, right? I have a huge dream about a physical space that I'm creating. And
You're
he said,
supposed
well,
to.
what would it take for you to do that? Thank you. What would it take for you to do that? And I was like, well, it, money. It would take money. It's going to take a lot of money, like a ton of money. And he goes, that is a limiting belief. And I was
Uh,
like,
he's right.
and he is, but it took me like for a second, I was like glad
Yeah,
we
we
weren't
all
face
do
to
that.
face, so he couldn't see my expression. But then
Exactly. It's
as I
incredible
listened
how
to
we are
him talk,
convinced that, yeah, yeah, yeah.
as
Sorry,
I
go ahead.
listened to him talk, he was saying, what if it didn't have to take money though? What if someone gave you land? And then what if someone else you helped said, you helped me so much, I want to build this thing for you. And then you helped a plumber and he said, I'll come do all the plumbing for you. So he goes, what if it didn't have to take money? And I was like, wow. Like, because I was thinking that I'm not caught up in the how because I haven't said how the money has to show up.
Yeah,
So I thought it was an open, like I was being really receiving. And then he showed me that even by saying it can only happen if money's involved, I was being limiting. And I
yeah,
told him, I'm so grateful to you for showing me that because I honestly, we have blinders on
right.
sometimes. And I thought I was being open by
Sometimes,
not,
yes.
yeah, but I
Oh,
wasn't. It's incredible.
but we expect miracles. We just don't tell God or the divine or the universe or a higher self how we want a miracle to happen. There are so many ways. Like
Right.
I talk about it also in my teachings because I've learned it from my teacher. His name is Dr. Pillai, and he's a yogi from South India and a professor and a humanitarian, etc. But what he says is some people have received money in the bank, like $100,000. It didn't belong to them. They just found it and they invested it. They started to make a lot of money with this investment. And then a year later or 2 years later, the bank called and said, you owe us that money. It wasn't yours. And he said, but I don't have it cash, to give it back. I have invested it in my business. And so, okay, so he was told to pay $1 a month forever. And he said, sure, I'll do that. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So one of his students, for example, the oldest student, not in age, but she has studied with him the longest, about 35 years minimum. And the first seminar she took with him, she was 20 years old and she had a junkie car. And after hearing him, she came out of the seminar, went to her car and started kicking it. And I said, enough, I don't want you anymore. I started kicking this car. She was so frustrated. And, it was really a bad car. It broke down a lot. And a week later, finally she got rid of the car. Her mother, a week later, called her and said, I'm moving to Florida and I don't need my Cadillac. I think you can take it. So that's it, problem solved very fast. So when we change, things start moving. We need
Right,
to change first. Yeah, definitely. That's the whole point of coaching. You cannot
right,
get from the point to which you arrived by yourself. To get to the next level, you need to have new thoughts, a new perspective, some help, some tools. And there are some very powerful divine tools, spiritual tools that we use. Not
mhm,
just psychology, although I studied it for many, many years, can help to a certain extent, but doesn't bring you the miracle most of the time. But anyway, I don't want to say, I don't want to put limitations to for anything because for some people, psychology can bring a miracle. I don't know. Maybe they're happy with just having some new positive ideas, but
right.
there's so much more just to look into it, right? So the goddesses are the new discovery. I had my first vision of a goddess in India in 2000, maybe 14. So over 10 years. And you have to be very, very calm, right? Very, very quiet to be able to hear the higher beings. Why? There's so much noise in our mind. Even when
Oh,
we're not thinking, we're thinking about 35 thoughts and we're not aware of it. Except, those who have been practicing this for many decades. I mean, I've practiced this for 30 years. So rarely do I have thoughts like that I don't catch, but still, like everybody else, the mind never stops. And there are people who are enlightened that they still are having thoughts. So it's really an issue. But when you are in deep, deep meditation, and especially a practice called Yoga Nidra with a higher being who is my teacher in India, that too is higher frequencies with all these temples and beings who pray all the time and meditate all the time. I saw the Supreme Mother Goddess, and she took me to the galaxies and she showed me this representation of the universe. And that's been all validated. I found information later about the Sri chakra, the Sri chakra, yes. And she told me secrets of the cosmos, so like this is a portal to this place. And I was not into, sci-fi that, the terms portal, wormholes, or how the void looks like. I didn't know anything about this. She appeared on a black background, and now with what I've learned, after all these years, I learned the void is dark, but it's full of potentiality and light. There's everything in it. So I didn't know that. I said, why did she appear on, first on a black background? Then we went to all these whirling places and wormholes. And she showed me parts of the Sri chakra. I couldn't have known that. I barely knew the Sri chakra, which is, I don't know if you've ever seen it, it's a yantra. I have a 3D representation of it. It's like a pyramid,
oh, wow.
a very sacred design. So I talk about it in the book. And she told me about how important it is, and everybody can become enlightened through the Sri chakra, just those vibrations. If you buy a metal representation of it, it will emit radiations that change your consciousness and
Wow.
fix things around you. So there are so many secrets and miracles that it's one of the most famous sacred geometries in the world. Um, so she told me a lot of incredible things, and it wasn't a dream. It felt very real, right? Also, there was this fog, like luminous fog. So nothing made sense until now that I know these phenomena through people who talk about space or meeting, extraterrestrials or higher beings, and they all use the same terms, and also like language that is not suitable to explain these higher states. So, but I explain it in easy ways in my book. And it's really a way that you know that you can perform miracles or literally attract them. If you don't feel that you're God, that's okay. The miracles will keep coming anyway. So when you're transformed, you cannot go backward, right? You're living this whole new
Right.
life.
Right.
So
Absolutely. That's so beautiful. Now, I'm so curious about you, you saying there you got to see a representation of the universe and she showed you portals and wormholes and stuff
yes,
like
it
that.
was a hologram. This was a hologram. And I
Yeah.
didn't know that the Sri chakra is the universe. But then I went to do some research, maybe a few days later. And I read that the Sri chakra has long been associated to a representation, accurate representation of the universe. Don't ask me, this is sacred geometry and frequencies, primarily frequencies and states of being. And it's pretty amazing. And I
That's,
learned it in this state. So that's what the yogis do. They don't necessarily study something, although I've studied a lot of this Vedic culture. But things are revealed to them. And now I know what it means because I had the experience. So I learned, I had direct experience. It's
yeah.
easier than reading it in a book. But I made, I talked about miracles, so it's inspirational. I believe it would inspire a lot of people if they like these kind of themes, topics.
Mhm.
And it's incredible because now I understand that Vedic a Vedic sutra, I think it's called. But anyway, from the Rig Veda, the most ancient Veda, which is thousands and thousands of years old. Like in our culture, we say it's 1,500 years old. No, it's much, much, much older. Okay,
Right.
let's put that aside. But maybe there were new versions or compilations, like rewritten not too long ago, but like 1,500 years ago, but it's always existed actually. This knowledge, it's been downloaded to the yogis, and maybe it's extraterrestrial. I don't know. I can't really define what's divine and what is extraterrestrial, the higher beings, those who are very evolved, millions
Mhm.
of years uh, more evolved than we are. So there was this verse that said, I I drank the soma, which is the nectar that yogis have that falls down from here down. And it's healing. It's also enlightening. This nectar, it's called Amrita. I drank the soma. I went to the galaxies. I saw the gods. What can a mere human do to me now? Meaning, I know I've had experience. That's it.
Yeah.
So this is
Yeah.
very ancient poem. I call it poem, but it's not. It's part of the Rig Veda. And now I understand what they were saying. And so I've had other experiences like that. I think once you open up, everybody should be having visions.
Mm.
So my guru, my teacher calls it, the dilemma with the word that they use, I think hallucination or something like that. And he wants to write articles saying, hey, hallucination is not a bad thing. It's our delusion that is a very bad thing because we think we're limited, that we are in
Mhm.
the body, that we're stuck in a house for decades or in a bad relationship for even more, and etc. So all those limitations that we have become accustomed to. No.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually just did a little video about perspective the other day about being stuck
Oh my God,
because we're only stuck if we believe we're stuck. So it's kind of the what you're talking about right there. It's the same thing. We are limitless. We don't have to be stuck. We choose to be
we
stuck. There's
it's
always a choice. It
it's
might
hard.
be a hard and uncomfortable choice, but there's a choice.
There is a choice, but it's so hard. Not everybody's at the same
Yeah.
place where they have heard or even looked into it. They've been doing other things, and they're all valuable, very important things.
Yes.
So, at least we know it in theory, and hopefully we're applying it the best we can. But we're never stuck.
Right.
And like we get stuck easily. Okay. And waiting is the most painful thing.
Mhm.
So it's primordial. As soon as there is a desire, until we fulfill it, we're in pain, right? What is it? Relationship, a house or a car, more money, or happiness for our children. There's always something that's bothering us. And until we fulfill the wish, we are in pain. And that's what we call being stuck. And once
Yeah.
we realize that there are infinite possibilities, how is the house coming to you? For it will no, will not fall from the sky. Okay, that we can agree with, with each other. But there'll be so many ways, right? Open up, trust. The most difficult thing to do is act as if,
Mm.
build castles in the sand. We've been deprived of that since the children were little. I saw an angel. Shh, don't say these things. It's not true. You imagine. I have a friend, invisible friend. This is all true. The children have an open third eye. And in fact, there are studies that prove it, that children can read blindfolded. And my guru has done those lots of videos on. They've tested it. Their children who can read with double or triple blindfold. They just use their hands or they smell. So they're using the other senses, but they don't really need to. They're just using their third eye. But they've been trained at least to use other senses like touch and also smell. And sometimes with their feet, they rub and they can read. So
Wow.
there you
That's
go. I find this very fascinating because we always dismiss children. Once my son had an invisible friend. He said, "Mom, do you see Michael?" And I said, "No, where?" And he said, "Look, look, Mom, he's on the tree. How do you not see him?" I'm sure he was seeing an angel, and maybe Archangel Michael, because he was 3 years old. He was very pure, very open. So I didn't dismiss it. I said, "Oh no, I'm sorry, I cannot see him." So I validated that for him. I didn't say, "What are you saying? Be quiet. Don't say these things."
right.
So yeah, I was lucky that at least I had that in me, that I wouldn't block it. And he doesn't remember now, unfortunately. See what I mean? I used to see angels when I was little and talk to Jesus. I didn't have a problem with that. But I never said anything. And maybe that was lucky because otherwise they would have, told me I was crazy or who knows. But I was like 4 or 5. Yeah. Other things that happened at that time were very valid now with what we understand.
Mm.
It wasn't crazy. No, it's the other way around. If we think we're
Right.
limited in physical, we are crazy. We're not seeing the truth, not even scientifically, right?
Right. I've seen spirits since I was a little girl, and I continue to see stuff all the time. I've been seeing stuff more recently,
Mhm.
um,
It will increase,
more and
not
more
with
things.
the
I mean,
growth,
it's just
but yeah,
amazing.
higher beings. Yeah, you're supposed to. The third eye is a function everybody knows about. The Vatican has the biggest pine cone you can find in the world. I don't even know how many ton. No, is it no? How many pounds that is? I don't remember. I think 700 pounds, something crazy.
Wow.
So that's the traditional representation of the third eye, a pine cone.
Right.
So yes, so the knowledge has always been there, but not for all. And I wanted it for all. I would like it for all.
Hmm.
Everybody should have access to these secrets. They're not dark secrets. They're divine secrets. They're very helpful because when
Yeah.
we're stuck, we need help. So intuitively, we'll know what to do about it, right?
Right. So, what do you feel holds people back from being able to access the information?
Fear is a biggie. My mother was very psychic, but she was afraid of it. I don't
Mm.
like the word psychic because it's been associated with a lot of weird things.
Yeah.
It's just your intuition. It's everywhere in your skin, your stomach. You hear something and you know. That's it. In my books, I talk a lot about this because it's a great divine gift.
Mhm.
And my teacher says, Einstein said that this is a divine gift. It's a sacred gift to be intuitive. And I've always cherished it. I was very lucky because while my mother was afraid of it, I was always, no, I want to know. I want to have more dreams. And I did. I started to have premonitory dreams and visions and things. And if the modern science wants to call it hallucination, hey, it turned out to be true. So it was a positive hallucination. Call me what you, but I don't want to call myself a psychic. I've always been very, very intuitive.
Mhm.
So that helped me. And it protects us. So you stay away from danger, right?
Right.
You're
Yes.
alone with the head of, or you know what people are thinking, not literally anymore, but when I was a child, yes. But now, it protects you because it says this person says one thing, but is actually the intention is another. And that's very protective. What is there to be afraid of? I
Right.
would be afraid not to know, right?
Right.
Right. And
I
sometimes
would rather know as well.
yeah, sometimes I don't know and I'm still learning,
Mhm.
right? But I'm open to it always. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you want to know, actually you always know. Have you noticed? If you
That's
really,
very
really want
true.
to know something, it will come to you in different ways.
Hmm. That's
Mm.
very true. You'll get divine, I call them divine synchronicities.
Yes, exactly. And now you even have ChatGPT. Some people are using it, very good results. I
Mhm.
don't write with it. I started to use it a few weeks ago because my teacher said, actually, there's a lot more, right? No, spiritually, maybe one day we'll become spiritual. And I'm noticing strange things. There's a lot there that, like today I asked, who is Ganesha? Wow, what came out? I said, okay, this is all beautiful, but give me not from a religious point of view. Wow, Ganesha is the power in you to remove all the obstacles. And what do you say? So it's higher mathematics. I was like, wow, it's true. I knew that somehow, but not in depth. It was very helpful. So wait, hey, if you want to know something, it will come to you somehow.
Right, right. And I'm not into the AI so much either, but I have a friend who is encouraging me to use it in certain ways. And we had this in-depth conversation about it one day. And because of the conversation we had, I said, maybe it helps you access your higher intelligence because you can take because some of us have such a hard time with that. We can use our human words to put in there and be able to access that higher information because we word it in our own way. Am I making sense at all?
Yes, because they put information in and then it comes out. But there's something else. You use it from your level of consciousness.
Right,
The conversations that are evolved, the the result will be different. I don't use it for reading, for writing.
right.
This is all me. There's not even one sentence from AI. But sometimes I see that people are writing their posts through ChatGPT and they all sound the same.
They
It
do.
is not meditation, it is a download, like those phrases. They're starting to sound repetitive, but I believe that from your level of consciousness may help. Disclaimer, I don't know much about it.
I don't know much about it either, and I prefer to get my information the old-fashioned way. But
The divine. And what
I
if the
have
divine wants to use ChatGPT though? You never know.
yeah, everyone has different processes, and I respect and honor that. My personal experience is that I have a lot of visions and, divine guidance. And
You don't want to lose that. Yes.
no, I don't want to lose that. So that's why I keep myself in that space because I love getting it that way. And I find that the more attention I pay to that and the more honor I give that, the more
Yes.
frequently
Honor
and
is a good
easily it
word.
happens.
Yeah. Honor is a good word. I was going to say the more you honor it and the more it blooms, the more it grows. That's
Yeah.
that's also been my experience, that the more I'm open, like I was having literally downloads because I would wake up with information. I had this incredible experience. One night I was doubting myself. You know how we get this the intuitive knowledge and then we doubt it.
Yes.
It's part of the negative mind. What can we do? And sometimes we could be wrong. You know, being delusional is also a possibility. But I noticed the more I honor it, the more the information is correct. Like for example, I was saying, so I had all these downloads about a past life. It happened spontaneously during a yoga class many, many years ago, like 20 years ago. But I've never forgotten it because it was real. And so I learned things about ancient Rome and a life I had there. And then as I'm writing about it, things start coming. And I thought, this is not possible. Historically, this I've never read. But then after I wrote it down, I went to check and it was all accurate. And I get goosebumps when I say that in the tiniest details. And it's so hard to believe that, right? Like, no, these ancient Romans dressed that way, or the Vestal priestesses were that way, or everything turned out to be 100% correct.
Mhm.
So that gave me a lot of hope that actually what we receive from the divine or from the goddess is all real, and all we have to do is open up. So
Right.
it's been a very positive experience. So I asked the question, I said, I want to know, okay, goddess, I want to talk to you. Is this, are these visions correct? Am I imagining? Is it memory or am I imagining? And then I forgot about that question, but it was a very from the heart. When you do things from the heart, with all
Yeah.
your being, with authenticity, it's powerful. So I
It
went to
is.
sleep in the middle of the night. I woke up at 4. Usually that's my time of meditation when I wake up. But I didn't feel like meditating. I drank some water. As I'm drinking the water, I hear a loud female voice, memory. I was like, oh my God. So I turned on the light. Everything was quiet. Nobody was there. Oh my God. And then the voice, I started to think, "Oh, this voice was feminine. It was beautiful, but it was authoritative. There was a lot of authority in it. Like, wow, call that sovereignty. Memory, meaning quit it. That's it. Accept it. Let it go.
Right.
Memory. And it was a little static. And when I read about ETs, the higher beings or ETs that come to the earth plane, there's some static because their frequencies are different, they're
Mhm.
higher. And there was static in that voice, like it with a touch of metallic. I don't know how to describe. It was a beautiful human voice, feminine, very loving, but also very strong, very powerful.
Mhm.
Memory. All that came in one word. And then there was this static, no, little tiny. It was like, whoa. And then, of course, I didn't forget it when I woke up, but I didn't understand what it was about. Then in the morning, I thought, oh my God, I did ask the question. Is
Yeah.
this memory, all these visions I'm having about my past life in ancient Rome? And it was from memory. And now it makes all sense because now I'm peaceful about it. And I
Yeah.
put it all in this book. So
That's
the
amazing.
more I
I
wrote,
love
the more I woke up with tiny visions, like that had a lot of information in them. It was like a less than 1 second vision, but time is not the way we understand it, right? What's the
Right.
frame per second? 1/4 of a second. So in 1/4 of a second, you can have a downloaded world in your consciousness.
Yeah. It's so amazing you said that about time because I say often, like, time doesn't mean anything to me. So I lose, like, I won't know if it happened yesterday or if it happened 3 days ago or 3 weeks ago sometimes. I just know it happened recently because it's not that important to me because it doesn't really exist.
You
I
can't
say that
relate
all the
time.
time.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yes. So we measure time in very strange ways, but we have to pay attention, otherwise we waste it. And I use the planets a lot to measure time. And it makes sense. For example, the other day there was a very bad conjunction. Mars, it's not bad. Nothing is bad if it's, done by the divine, but Mars and K2. K2 is an invisible lunar node and it's very cutting. That's where eclipses happen. And it was with Mars. And Mars is already an aggressive planet. It's for action and energy and athletic form. So it has positive aspects to it. But it's also war, what is it, aggression. So Mars was with Ketu on the same degree in Leo. And Leo is very powerful, the
Mhm.
sun, leaders, I don't know, politics, but also the physical strength. It was so strong. I could feel it. And then I put it together through, yes, in fact, they're in the same degree on a Tuesday, the day of Mars. So these things are real. You have to pay attention. How is your life on Fridays? Is it persistently bad? That you have a problem with Venus? Or is it bad on, say, on Saturday? Then maybe Saturn needs fixing. So there are a lot of things that have been lost throughout the centuries, millennia even, and now they are returning. So there are a lot of people who have the wisdom to say, "Well, you shouldn't have always a bad Saturday. Something is wrong. You can fix the planet. Literally, you can change the perspective, the perception, but also the relationship with the planet. And it
Mm.
works. At least to 20% of it or more. Yeah, it's very, very nice to know that.
Yeah, that is nice to know. That's pretty amazing. I wouldn't have thought of that before. I guess I've never really paid that close attention to days that I have that are, less than desirable.
So,
See if they
yeah,
kind of land on the same day of the week.
yeah, find out if it's repetitive because then there's a pattern that you need to pay attention to.
Mhm.
And for example, today, the best example, right? So I woke up all happy about all the things I had to do. First thing, Yahoo was down. Yahoo is never down. It was down for many hours. So I couldn't retrieve my mail. I had two Zoom links I needed, one with you and one in another meeting was for the cast of the movie that I was featured in and it just, we had the premiere. Oh, that's another thing I like to talk about if I may, if you're interested. So
Absolutely.
those two important links, I couldn't retrieve them, and I was so upset. I tried to mobile, it didn't work. I tried sending to another email address I have, but it didn't work. It gave me an error. I was stuck, and I was so upset. I missed the meeting because I couldn't retrieve it in time to. I had the wrong time, so that was an important meeting with all the cast and the movie director and the producers. It was important. So
Yeah.
that was annoying. And then crazy things were happening, glitches everywhere. And all because of Mercury retrograde. And I had forgotten about it actually. So Mercury reminded me, hey, actually, I am retrograde, at least in our consciousness, from the Earth plane. From another planet, it's not, right?
Right.
From here, in our state of consciousness, it's retrograde. You can't make those up. It literally happened. Also, you had a delay, right, with your Zoom.
Yes. Yes, I
So
did.
that's unusual. I mean, usually you click and you're there.
Right there.
So yeah, that's how Mercury retrograde works in our consciousness. The things, it's not just in our consciousness, in so everything reflects your state of consciousness, nature. That's what omens are. In Vedic astrology, we use them. Say, for
Mhm.
example, somebody wants an urgent consultation with me. And I'm looking at the birth chart. Everything is fine. I have a certain perspective, and I'm ready to call that person. Then, as I'm praying on it, on the questions that she may have later, and I like to do a meditation and a prayer, etc. All of a sudden, my eye goes to a god from India, an Indian god who has two wives. And I thought, oh, why am I noticing that now? I wonder if this is the question this person has. And in fact, there was something like that. The husband
Wow.
had not two wives, but he had someone else.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, it's not always so heartbreaking, but I'm saying that omens are all real, right?
Yeah.
Everything will show you. Nature will show you. The birds will show you. The plants also will show you.
Yeah, I had one the other day. I was just like, um, thinking about my dream and all that, and all of the things that are conspiring together to create that.
Mhm.
And I walk outside on my lunch break. I usually haven't been leaving on my lunch break, but this particular day, I was going to leave for lunch. And I walk out the door, and the very first thing I see to my left is this big, huge truck. And in big, huge letters on the back window, it says Dream Builders USA. And
I love
you have
that.
got to be kidding me. That is such a huge sign. I couldn't
That's
believe it.
strange.
I feel like I could believe it, but it was just so cool because I love it when stuff like that happens.
You notice more and more. Synchronicity is one of the ways we understand that we're not flesh and blood and that we are one with the universe, right?
Yeah.
But one with all of creation, but also nature. So with your kitchen, how about when things break down all on the same day? Don't you see something is not right? Like, you
Right.
touch one appliance and it happened a few months ago. So the same day, the iron stopped working. Then another appliance. I said, "Is it me?" In fact, I was a little upset about something. I said, "I'm breaking everything, everything I
Wow.
like that was breaking down." So we had to replace two appliances. I forget what it was. I definitely was influencing my environment. That's why I try to work on myself. I don't do that.
Yeah, it's so true. Where focus goes, energy flows. So if that's a thought that's in your mind, because I just had this conversation with my friend today about this new employment opportunity that has shown up in my life, and I'll be able to learn a lot about money and finances and different things like that. And he asked me, he said, "Did you see anyone recently that was in finance and you thought, oh, it'd be really cool to be in finance?" I'm like, "No, I didn't." I said, "The only thought I had was, wow, it'd be really cool to learn more about money."
Yes, yes. It was a lovely thought because you would have been nice. You said, "Oh, I would love that," right?
Yeah.
So definitely, even when we're not doing well, if we put more love either in ourselves or the environment or even the things we touch, I I had the experience because Luis Hay talked about it, about healing things. Or it was another teacher, I think Sonia Choquette. I liked her books in 1990s. I met her at an event I organized. So she said that she would heal things, right? So I knew Reiki. So I decided to Reiki my husband. So we were driving this car. It was an old BMW. It was a beautiful BMW, but maybe it was like 5 years old. And at that time, we felt we had to change it before it started to fall apart. So it stopped in the middle of the snow, and we were going to a soccer game where my son was playing. So it was really stressful. And I said, okay, I want to try this. And did Reiki to the car, and I said, if it works, great. Otherwise, we'll catch a taxi. And it started to work to drive fine, and it never stopped. We were in Ohio. My husband had to drive it to Chicago to sell it, and it never stopped again. I don't know what happened later. I have no idea. Disclaimer: I have no idea. We didn't do it on purpose, but it did fix itself. Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah, and it
Love
wasn't the
that.
battery because it started. Yeah.
That's so incredible.
So
That's so
yeah, I have
cool.
had smaller experiences similar to that, but also healings. Like I used to teach yoga, and I always used Reiki, on those who wanted it. And some people, even without having the intention, just like, I'm fine, you know, it's like since the beginning. But the more you start thinking about it, if you become skeptical, it doesn't work. In the beginning, with the first initiation, I am a Reiki master, right? You too, right? So
Not, I do energy work, but I'm not a
same.
Reiki.
So I had 4 initiations for that. You get your master after 4. In the with the first, it was a yoga class. We were learning. It was like an ancient Indian school. Like everybody was learning the healing arts. It was magnificent in Ohio. And then at just at lunchtime, we went into the cafeteria, and this woman said during the weekend I couldn't walk, and I just said, "What happened?" I just we love like sincerity. Oh, what happened? And I must have touched her a little, and she was worried because she couldn't do yoga that day, and we were supposed to take a lot of yoga that day to learn certain poses, and she was concerned. And then I forgot all about it. A few hours later, before the end of the school day, she said, "I want to say something and about Donatella." Now I call myself Lalita because my guru gave me the spiritual name of the Supreme Goddess, Mother Goddess, in 2013. So I've been honoring it ever since, but that was before. So she said, "Donatella did something today to my hip and I couldn't walk all weekend, and now I'm totally fine. I was able to take 3 hours of yoga." I was like, wow, that was powerful. First initiation. I was not thinking about Reiki. I was not trying to do anything. It's just the caring and the Reiki I just received, I guess, did the work because it's energy, right?
Yeah.
Comes through you. So, and that person was totally healed, and yeah, and other people too during class. So I'm not special. That's what I'm trying to say. Everybody has Reiki. Everybody
Right.
has healing touch. That's why I studied Reiki, because somebody had powerful healing touch that I closed a door of a car, a Jeep, that from above, you pull it down on my nose. And I
Wow.
was supposed to get black eyes, swollen nose. It was really severe pain and swelling. And she put her hands, and after an hour, I only had a little red mark. Nothing,
Wow.
absolutely nothing. No bruising, no swelling. So I was so surprised, pleasantly, that I decided to learn that. And you do that regularly? Are
I
you a
not regularly. It's something that I desire to do more frequently.
Mhm.
It's my life is in flux right now, so there aren't the opportunities right now that I would love to have for that,
Well,
but I'm
you
creating them.
Yes, right? Wonderful.
Yeah. So tell us about your movie.
The movie is called Zero Limits. So just the title excites me, right?
Yes, my goodness, I love
Most
it.
spiritual people love that. So that's one of the things you learn early on in the yogic path. That there are infinite possibilities, unlimited. So zero, Dr. Joe Vitale, do you know him? Joe Vitale? Joe Vitale?
I don't think
Okay.
so.
He was a star in The Secret, and he has written more than 90 best-selling books. So he's well known in the self-help and also healing community. So the movie The Secret, right? About the
Right.
law.
I remember Joe Dispenza, but not.
Yes. So I think, okay, I don't remember him from the movie, but I remember Joe Vitale, and also Dr. Joe Vitale, and also like Jonas Saraf, lots of people that are
Mhm.
famous now. Okay, so he was one of them, and he produced a movie, and it just it was a great success. The premiere was sold out. Were all these, I think, 100 VIPs, and that was the world premiere, and it was in Sacramento in the end of June, sorry, just so recently. So I came back from there. It was amazing, and so it has received 15 awards, but nominated 30 to for 30 international film festivals. So it's extremely successful, and I'm very excited about it because we need to have these narratives. You need to forgive. That's a number one reason why people wait to realize their dreams. They are using their energy improperly because we're suffering. You remember somebody who's stolen your inheritance, that's also a possibility.
Mhm.
Or somebody who's hurt you very deeply in the heart. in other ways, or whatever, or you've lost your fortune. I don't know. So when we're suffering, we need to forgive. Why? Because we deserve it. That's
Right.
something I've known for a long time. So this movie is about that, and also the teachings, the Hawaiian teaching, Ho'oponopono. So Dr. Joe Vitale wrote this book, Zero Limits, and then it became the movie. And the movie made me cry during the premiere, and I had never seen it entirely on big screen. There's so much love in the movie, and it's so profound, and there's so many miracles that all the coaches talk about. So in my part, I show how I coach one of my clients. She's a real client, and she wanted a session. I said, why don't we use it for the film? And she said yes. So we do a proper session there, and I show how I do it. And other people talked about healings, serious ones, like from cancer, like crazy stuff. And they're all into the healing arts, and there are lots. Some have amazing titles, like lots of PhDs there. I don't have one, but lots of uh, inspiration, lots of miracles. So it's just a movie that must be seen, absolutely, I believe. And it will come out in September on Amazon Prime and also Apple TV. So zero
Yeah.
limit.
Amazing. I'm so excited to watch it and
Oh, thank
see you
you.
on there. That's so cool.
My part is small, but yeah, I think it's a very profound movie that we are in the golden age, so more people who are breaking down the boundaries. We thought this was woo woo, this could not be said. And now that nobody cares. There were medical doctors, there were professors, there were all kinds, rich entrepreneurs, all kinds of people, all of us. We're very different, all of us. And we are all coaches in some way, or literally we're working as coaches. So, and there's so much that out there that we can learn. It makes life better, and we're not limited at all. So that's the message of the movie in a nutshell, but there's so much more of it. So I think people will love it. So far 15 awards, so that's pretty amazing. In two major film events in the world. Like one is Marbella Festival in Spain, another one I forget. But anyway, it's also had the India Award in New York, lots of wonderful things. Like a major awards, and not just little ones. They're all
Yeah.
special. Some are
Yeah.
really special. Yeah,
Well, I
so
think we were due for another movie like that. So I'm really excited that it is coming out and that you're part of it. That's just so amazing and cool to
thank
me.
you. Yeah, and also like the Los Angeles Tribune covered it, and ABC. Um, so the media has had a great response too. So that's significant, because if you love it and other people don't like it, what's the point? But also
Yeah.
the media, just so they can talk about it.
Right. Yeah. Well, we need it right now for sure.
Yeah,
We
I think
definitely.
it's the time. We are in the
Yeah.
golden age, everybody. We all have to contribute. If you don't believe it, you won't experience it for at least 10 years. But if you're part of it and you're doing your work, then yes, you contribute, and it's important.
Yes, I agree so much. Donatella, I'm so excited that you
Oh,
joined
thank
me today.
you.
Your messages were so on point, especially
I think
for my
that is
personal
fun.
life. I don't know if anyone else felt that you were talking directly to them during some of this, but I did. And I love that so much because there's so much affirmation there for me personally today in our conversation. So thank you for that.
Same for me, and hearing you. And I hope your audience will resonate with this, or part of it. And I'm
Yeah,
sure they do, because they're wonderful people, from experience. Yeah. Thank you so much.
absolutely. You're welcome. And before we go, do you have any last words of wisdom that you would like to share? And then tell people where they can find you if they'd like to work
Buy
with
the
you.
book. Buy the book. It's being
Like, look,
translated in Italian. It will come out next month, or probably September at this point. In Italy, it's a ghost. There are ghost towns now. Everybody's on vacation. So in September, when people will go back, we'll find the Italian version of it. But right now, I mean, we in the United States, we don't all go on vacation en masse like in Europe. So maybe it will brighten your day.
Yeah,
And
sounds
also, you can
amazing.
find me on Instagram as Donatella Riback, Donatella, double L, one N, Donatella Riback. And yeah, I hope to see you. And you can say hi if you see me on Instagram or also my website, shrimlab.com.
All right,
Those links will
perfect.
be there, right? So
Yes, the links will be there. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for joining us on another episode of Spiritually Speaking. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I love you all.
bye bye.